Hey kids, it's Papa. Are you ready to explore the Bible? Okay, today we've got an interesting story. Um, we've been talking about Jeroboam, who was the king of the northern kingdom. Okay, Rehoboam is the king of the southern kingdom, but we haven't been talking about him. Jeroboam was up in the north. Jeroboam had a son by the name of Abijah, and Abijah became sick. And Jeroboam was afraid that his son was going to die. And so he said, how will we know? We need to know whether our son is going to survive. And so he called for his wife, and his wife came, and he said, I want you to go to the prophet of God that told me that I would be king, because I know that, well, he's the prophet of God because he told me I was going to be, and sure enough, I am. So I want you to go and talk to him. Now, his eyes are dim because he's old. He can't see. So I want you to act like you are someone else. And I want you to go to him and say, please, prophet, tell me, will my son survive or will he not survive? Which is kind of silly because if the prophet knows whether he's going to survive or not, don't you suppose the prophet is going to be told by God who she is and who the son is? Not thinking. Anyway. So sure enough, she goes, puts on other clothes and acts like a peasant and goes to this prophet. But God had already spoken with the prophet. And God said, you know what? The king is sending his wife. Jeroboam is sending his wife, and she's going to come and she's going to ask if his son is going to survive. And here's what I want you to tell him. So sure enough, she starts coming, and as he hears the footsteps on the door, he called out to her, and he said, come on in. You are the wife of Jeroboam, and why on earth are you acting like you are someone else? Okay? Because if God can tell his servant one thing, he can tell his servant anything he wants, don't you think? Well, in any case, she said, well, I came to find out whether my son would survive. And he said, I'm sorry, but I've got some bad news for you. And in verse 7, he says, and this is 1 Kings 14:7, go tell Jeroboam, thus saith the Lord God of Israel, because I elevated you. I mean, I took you from being nobody and made you king over the northern tribes. And I've done all of this for you. And yet, what have you done? You've gone and you've made those golden calves, and you have set up places to draw my children of Israel away from me. And all of these things you have done. He said, so I'm telling you, I'm going to bring evil on the house of Jeroboam. And he says, I am going to kill every male in your family. I'm going to kill Jeroboam. I'm going to kill Jeroboam's sons. I'm going to kill their sons. Everybody's going to die. And by the way, when you return home, as soon as you walk into your house, your son is going to die. And Jerusalem's going to mourn him, but he's going to be the only one that Jerusalem's going to mourn from your family. And the Lord is going to judge you. And the Lord is going to judge your family. And the Lord is going to judge Israel because they followed you. Now, what can we learn from this? You can't play games with God. Don't even try. Don't try to deceive him. Don't try to hide from him. It didn't work for Adam and Eve. It hasn't worked for anyone since then. You cannot deceive God. And so I'm just telling you, don't try to play games with him. The Bible tells us that if we walk in the light as he is in the light, we will have fellowship with him. The problem is that when we try to hide things from God, try to hide ourselves from God, we try to play games with God, it doesn't work. We are only deceiving ourselves. So it just never works to play games with God. Okay? Hey, love you guys. See you later. Bye.